Hi, and welcome to another edition of Prepper Dan. Well, spring is 2/3 of the way done here, but there's still something you can harvest in your forest that you'll find highly beneficial. High in vitamin C, antioxidant, good to fight colds and flus, and that is the spruce tip. Nice and bright green coming out the tips of your spruce, and I'm going to show you how to harvest it and how you can use it and how you can even store it for long-term use. Nice refreshing drink for the summer. So let's get down to business here next to our small little spruce trees, and I'll show you how you can harvest it. The first thing you'll want to do is you'll notice on the tips of these spruce trees here, the new growth from this year is nice and light and very, very soft compared to the prickliness of the growth from last year, and it bends very easily. And we had some really good growth this year. On some of these lower ones here, the tips are still coming out, so there's good time to harvest these. And these harvest very easily. What I simply do, I get myself a little bowl here, and I simply just pick the tips off, and they come off very easily. Keep in mind that these will be a little bit sticky, so by the time you're done, your hands will be sticky, but just washes off with soap and water. And it doesn't take any time at all to really harvest like a bowl full like I have here. You can actually harvest, 2 or 3 little bunches at a time. And they're quite soft. And in essence, this is what they look like. They're nice and soft, and they stay together nicely. Now you may be wondering, how do you tell the difference between a spruce tree, a fir tree, which is your typical Christmas tree, or pine tree? Well, a spruce tree, when you pick one of the more mature needles off on the side, it's square, so you can actually roll it between your fingers. A fir tree, I'll show you that in a moment, the needles are flat, so you can't roll it. And a pine tree, I'll show you that in a few moments too, you'll either have a red pine or a white pine, and that'll have long needles in clusters of 2 or 5. So that's the difference. Now you can use, there's different types of spruce tree as well. We've got white spruce, black spruce, and red spruce here. And these are a white spruce here, but you can actually, it doesn't matter if you mix up the tips and that, it may give you a bit of a nicer flavor. The other thing too is you'll notice on some of these, because they're still emerging, this is the end of May here where I am on the East Coast, there's a little paper cup on top of these, and all you got to do is just give them a shake. Paper cups are gone. So here's an example of a red pine here, or yeah, this is a red pine. The red pine needles are very long. They are nice and soft. We do have white pine here as well. I happen to have a big pile of red pine logs here that I have for projects that I use on my sawmill. But the red pine will grow in clumps of 2 needles, and the white pine will grow in a clump of 5 needles. And you can make a pine tea as well. And maybe I'll do another video on that at some other time. So keep in mind also that with the spruce tea, you can make a tea any time of year with these by using the branches also. Here's just a young tree, and all of the needles are actually fairly smooth on this one, but they'll be more bitter. And I'm going to talk about the benefits of all that when we go inside and I show you how to process all that. So yeah, this is a good harvest, a good growth here so far this year. And you're not actually harming the tree by just taking off a few. I take it from the not from the tops, but I take it from just the ends of the leaves here. So you'll notice some of them are very tight still. These are perfect for harvesting. And then some of them, like on this one here, they're starting to fan out a little bit. These are good too. They'll have a nice lemony taste to them. All right, now for this batch, I've got about 3 cups of water in this pot. And I'm going to add, I've got 2 cups of these spruce tips that I'm adding in here. And I'm going to add I'm going to add a whole lemon to this. I just slice it kind of thin. And I'm just going to pour, or not pour, but just kind of put the lemons right on the top like this. So it looks just kind of like that. And then I'm going to put this on a burner here to simmer. And you'll see when it's done, the whole top of the, you're just going to see liquid on top, and everything else will have settled right down. All right, to preserve these long term, what I like to do is I make ice cubes out of them, and I save them. Now, these don't freeze like typical water. They're a little bit gelatinous. And then I'll tell you, when I make my mixture in my pot there, you can drink it just as is, or you can sweeten it a little bit. Now, this particular mixture that I've got in here, I had some Demerara sugar, which is cane sugar that I had from Florida, and I used about a cup of it for about, I'm going to say at least twice that. And I tell you, it sweetened it just enough. This time, I'm going to try maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons of honey to sweeten that. But just let me show you, like, you know how usually with ice cubes, they just snap right out? These just kind of, they're a little bit sticky. Because, you know, these coniferous trees, they are sticky. You know, it's like, well, it's like a pine tar almost, but it's not pine, but obviously it's spruce. I remember my grandfather, you know, growing up, he used to carry his knife. I grew up in Quebec, and we used to have a cabin way up in northern Quebec, and he always used to walk around with a knife, and every time you'd see some spruce gums coming out of the tree, he used to break that piece off and just throw it in his mouth. Anyhow, so this is what these ice cubes look like, and you can preserve this year round. What I do is, in a bottle of water like this, I take one of these, put it in there, fill it with water, and you can put other ice cubes in there too, but it flavors it ever so nicely, and it's so refreshing. And I'm going to talk to you about the health benefits of these trees here, and I'm going to talk to you about the nutrients of spruce tips in just a moment. The other thing you can do is, once this mixture is steeped, you can actually just make a tea. Some people add a little bit of lemon to it, or you can add a little bit of sugar, or you can put some honey and just drink it as is. You can make a big pot of it, just coming to a nice rolling boil right now. But the other thing I can suggest too is, in my freezer sometimes, in one of our freezers when we have space, I'm going to turn this down a little bit here. When we have space, I take some older bottles that we've had. This had liquid honey in it, but it's a really thick bottle, or even orange juice, and I fill them about 7/8 of the way full of water. Never fill it up full, because water expands as it as it freezes. And any spare space in my freezer, I put, this is like a giant ice cube, and it helps keep the freezer cold. If the power ever goes out, I've got already made ice packs in there. But once this mixture is cooled down and it's strained, and I'll show you how I strain it here once this is done, you could, fill this up 3/4 or 7/8 of the way full, and then throw it in your freezer. And then throughout the year, as you need it, you can strain it, have it as a warm tea, or again, mix a portion of it. It'll be highly concentrated, but you can make a nice drink with it. It's refreshing, and again, you'll get all of the health nutrients with it. Okay, this is simmered for about 30 minutes. And so now we're going to use just a fine mesh sieve, and we're going to carefully just filter out this nice brew. It smells so nice in here right now. It almost smells like Christmas. All right, there you go. Wow, does it ever smell nice in here. can see the nice color of it. It's like a really nice yellowish tinge. And we're going to let this cool, and I'm going to go ahead and make more ice cubes out of this one rather than make a tea. It's too hot today for a tea. But again, you can put this in one of those bottles. Once it's cool, put it in the freezer and save it for later. And seeing as though there's all kinds of this outside, if you don't have property where you can harvest this along the road, do make sure that you're not harvesting in an area where there's been pesticides sprayed. That wouldn't be good for you, but there certainly is a lot of this in nature. All right, so let's explore some of the benefits. So while this is still warm, I'm actually going to sweeten this with some honey. And I've got some raw unpasteurized honey here. I'm going to put maybe three of these tablespoons in here, if I can get them off. I keep this in the fridge, so it's a little bit hard. Maybe I'll start with 2 and see what it tastes like. All right, this one, just a little overpowered by the lemon. I used a whole lemon with the batch I did before that was at least twice, maybe even 3 times this amount. So, but anyhow, that'll turn out okay. It'll be a little more on the lemony side. So good batch overall, just a little bit of a different flavor. And I did put a little bit of black spruce tips in here as well, besides the white spruce, so that may have just altered the flavor just a little bit, but that's good. A little alteration in flavor is not a bad thing. So spruce tip tea is good for a lot of different remedies, used in the springtime especially. And as I said, you can find different ways to preserve it long term, be it in ice cubes and big ice blocks. It's used as a natural remedy for various health issues such as colds, coughs, and fatigue. So what are the benefits of spruce tip tea? Well, it's rich in vitamin C, which is essential for a healthy immune system. It also has antiseptic properties, which can help soothe sore throats and ease respiratory problems. It also has anti-inflammatory properties, which can help reduce inflammation and alleviate symptoms of colds and flu. It also contains natural antioxidants, which can help protect the body from damage caused by free radicals. Now, I've heard it said and been reading up on this that women who are pregnant should probably avoid drinking spruce tip tea. I'm having a hard time saying that really quickly. Spruce tip tea. All right, that only took a few minutes to prepare. Probably take me longer to clean up after all that, but I'm going to sit back, enjoy my nice cool drink, and the house smells like Christmas, even though it's getting nice and warm outside. But I hope you enjoyed this informational little tidbit. Get outside and get some fresh air and do something constructive while you're at it, and enjoy a little bit of goodness and freshness and some good vitamin C, especially this time of year. So I hope you found this fun and enjoyable. So God bless you. You have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.